One stacker on a journey to find silver. International Stacker.
Hey guys, this is Professor International Stacker, and welcome to your first class at Silver Stacking University. That's SSU for short. And today's course is called Basic Terminology. Now, the reason I'm making this series of videos is because there's a lot of questions I had, especially when I started stacking, that I wish I could have figured out quicker, and it would have greatly helped me. So I'm going to have maybe a 5 or 6 part series video series, I should say, to kind of explain things like terminology and stacking strategies and how to buy, how to protect yourself when streaming, all kinds of different things. But again, you must all know I am not a financial advisor. Your decisions are yours and yours alone. I'm only expressing my viewpoints and what I would do in my own life. Are we ready? And again, my name is Professor International Stacker. Let's continue. So the number one thing you're going to need to know when you get into silver stacking or even gold stacking is what spot price and what melt is. So basically, spot price is the current price that silver or gold is at that point in time. It's what it can be bought at and what it can be sold at, okay? And it's actually a little bit more in depth than that. There's a bid and an ask price, but for the grand scheme of things, for this course, that's what we're going to stick with. Additionally, you're going to hear the word melt. And melt is basically the price that refiners will pay for the item, right? So sometimes when you go into an LCS or a local coin shop, they're going to say, oh, I'll give you melt for that. And what that is that's the mean, the number in between the bid and the ask price, right? But if you just want to keep it easy, just look at the spot price. That's what it can be bought and sold at, and that's what we're going to go for. So what else is important? What determines the spot? Well, it's a little thing called the COMEX, the Commodities Exchange. And basically what happens is contracts are traded back and forth between investors and big banks, and one contract equals 5,000 physical ounces of silver. Isn't that crazy? Jeez Louise. Next, goal. Talk about manipulation. You're going to hear all kinds of things about market manipulation. This is why. A paper market, not even trading real physical ounces, is controlling the price of real ounces. Is that fair? Now, here's your goal. This is your homework. When you're buying silver, you want to get as close to that spot price as possible. No matter what type of silver or gold you're buying, that's your goal. So, the next thing you need to know is the premium. What's the premium? This is really important when you're buying online, especially. So, all the premium is the total cost of the item minus the spot price. So you see here, the spot price is the current price based on the COMEX. The premium over spot is the cost above current spot price. And this here in the middle, you want to keep as small as possible because that's saving you money. Now, the important thing is when you go to some websites, sometimes they'll say the whole price, including the premium. Sometimes they're only going to say $199 over spot or $349 over spot. And what that number is that's the premium over the spot price. It's usually very hard to get at or very close to spot price unless you're doing a welcome package. And I have a video on that. Maybe I'll put a link in here somewhere. Or some special kind of promotion. Otherwise, it's very hard to get to spot. And also, too, another way to get close or under spot is eBay bucks. And there'll be another video on that. So the number one thing is that just remember, this can be confusing on websites, but as long as you remember this, you'll be okay. So we've talked about spot or melt. We've talked about premiums. Now we got to talk about the different types of silver. And this is actually a really common silver stacking strategy is generic silver. And generic silver is made by private mints, and it comes in kind of a few different forms. The first type of generic silver is a round. What a round is basically a piece of generic silver in a circular form. It basically means it's not minted by a government or a central bank. It's not official currency. It's just purely a silver round. It has no kind of monetary value to it as far as is exchange for items in a store, but it is valuable, obviously. And with these rounds, this is a privateer. This is a really cool round series, but it has a higher premium, right? So maybe we want to get a cheaper premium round or get a good deal. But the important thing with these rounds, if they're shiny, you got to wear gloves. Otherwise, you're going to put fingerprints and stuff from the oil of your hands, and it's going to tarnish. But you know, some people like to let this type of silver tarnish, so it depends on what you want. Next kind of generic silver is going to be a bar. So you can see here, it's basically just a rectangular or even a square shape. And again, if it's a shiny bar, it's a pressed bar, you're going to want to wear gloves. And we're going to get into pressed here in a second. The third type of generic silver is going to be fractional, and that can be in either bar or round form. It's just small pieces. It's usually a tenth of an ounce, or even grams. And again, with these, all the shiny silver you want to wear gloves with if you want to keep it from tarnishing. And you can actually put your oil fingerprint on a coin and see your fingerprint later. It's crazy. So we talked about the generic silver, but let's talk about the types of bars. Okay, so for types of bars for generic silvers, we got the shiny, which is the pressed, and you got to wear gloves with this, guys, if you don't want it to tarnish and turn colors. The next one is poured silver. It's also called cast silver. They're pretty much the same thing. With some type of casting, it's a little bit different process than pouring. Well, you're still pouring, but it's just a little bit different process on how you get the end product. But the cool thing about poured silver is, yes, you can touch it with your hands, you can play with it, bang it around. It doesn't matter because every single piece is different, and its character is what makes it cool. And then finally, you have fractional bars. So you can see this bar here, which I actually have in my full stack if you watch my full stack video. And you can actually break this off in 1/4 ounces. And again, it's shiny. You got to wear gloves if you don't want it to tarnish. So now let's talk about sovereign silver or coins. For something to be a coin, it has to be minted by a sovereign country. U.S. Mint, Royal Canadian Mint, the British Mint, all these different Fiji and all those places, which is actually minted by Scottsdale. So for it to be called a coin, it has to be a sovereign coin, which means it's legal tender, which means it says $1, 1 peso, 1 rand, whatever it's going to be. So there's 3 different types of coins, guys. They're circulated. So it's like the old silver we have here in the United States. The nicknames for it are junk silver. Some call it constitutional silver because our Constitution says that money, coinage must be silver. And it's also called 90%. And then we actually have 40%. So pre-1971 to 65 is 40, and then pre-65 is 90%. The next type is going to be your BU and proof type coins. BU means brilliant uncirculated. So as these are circulated, these are non-circulated. They're minted strictly for collection purposes, investment, preservation of wealth, etc. These you want to wear a glove with, guys. Otherwise, you're going to tarnish them. They're going to turn colors. Some people don't care with bullion. I care. I try to keep all my silver pristine because my goal someday is to sell it, right? Or trade with it. So the shinier it is, the better. And then also too, if it's a proof, it's just basically the same design, but it's a mirror type finish, really shiny. You can see yourself in it, and it's a higher premium than the BU is going to be. And take an American Silver Eagle, you're commonly going to see it between $1.75 and $3 over spot. So the premium for this is $1.75 to $3 usually. And then finally, we have a sovereign coin bar. And these are super cool, guys. So what this is a bar that's actually legal tender, and this one's Australian, and I think it says on there like $2 or something, $5. I forget what it is, but it's legal tender. It's super amazing. So we've talked about the different types of silvers, but now we got to talk about the fineness. Okay, so we got here just a little chart, and we got 0% fine, which means it's not silver, and 100%, which means it's pure, right? So when you're talking circulated, like the constitutional silver, on this chart, I put it to 90. Why? Because I only like to collect 90% and above. I don't like 40%. I don't like sterling silver, which is what, 625, I think. I like 90% and above. So if I find a 40%er, I will just trade it for 90%ers. So we got circulated coins, which are usually 90%, but you've got Canadian and different types of old silver coins that are in the 60s and 50s and 40s. So it depends. Next is you got your BUs and your proofs. And those are usually 0.999, which is 99.9% silver. And then you also have BUs and proofs that are 0.9999, and that's 99.99% pure. And what this is going to be is Royal Canadian Mint does it, the Perth Mint does it, different mints. You're just going to look for the fineness. Some say this is more desirable. Some say it doesn't even matter. But, you know, if you can, I say get the extra 9. Why not? So another important thing to understand when stacking is the gold to silver ratio, okay? And what this basically means is the number or the amount of ounces of silver that 1 ounce of gold is worth or can be traded for, right? So currently, as of today, our gold to silver ratio is 84.89 ounces. That means theoretically, if I traded in 1 ounce of gold, I could get 84.89 ounces of silver back in exchange. So that's for every 1 ounce of gold, how much silver is compared to it. This is the 5-year chart down here, and this is the 10-year chart up here, guys. Now, some interesting history on this is, historians went back and figured it out. And the Roman times, they're saying it was anywhere from 12 to 12.5 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. And in the United States, with the Coinage Act of 1792, it was 15 to 1. It was actually said it would be 15 to 1. Then when we had the Hunt Brothers squeeze in the 1980s, I think it was 1980 exactly, once the squeeze started and the price, rose, it actually ended up being around 16 to 1. And again, today we're at 84.89 to 1, but the USGS did a survey, which people like to quote, and according to the survey is there should be 17.6 ounces roughly of silver for every 1 ounce of gold in the Earth's crust. And a lot of people use this and it's called trading the ratio or riding the silver wave when they're thinking about liquidating their metals and if they're buying gold or silver, okay? And I kind of follow this too. I used to follow it a lot more, but lately I've been adding a little bit of gold to my stack. But I think this ratio is going to close in the future. I don't think it's going to go back to 16 to 1, but I think it's possible to get in the 30s and 40s to 1. So the plan is for now, the majority of my stacking goes into silver, focused on silver. And then in the future, if it happens and when it happens, this ratio closes, you should be able to take a big part of your silver, transfer it into gold, and you're going to end up with more gold this way, playing the ratio, than you would have if you just bought gold straight out for what the prevailing price was at that time. Does that make sense? So by doing this and writing this down, you're going to end up with more gold than you would have for the price you paid. So this is a really important concept you're going to hear a lot of people talking about. Flipping. This is what I love to do. I call it making your stack work for you. This is how you do it. The first thing you're going to do is buy. That means you're going to buy a new release like I just did and many others did with the 2018 Palladium Proof Eagle. The first proof Palladium Eagle the U.S. Mint has ever minted. I got a couple of them, and they're coming in the mail. I'm planning to hold them for maybe a week and then sell them. But here's what I'm doing. I got 2, guys. So one I'm going to sell and lock in the profits, but I'm going to look at both of them, see which one's the nicest, and I'm going to send the other one in for grading. And once I get it back from grading, I'm going to sell it. These graded coins, right now, they're going for about 2,000, just regular. Graded, they're going for anywhere from 3,500 to 4,000. I think it might be more in the future, so I'm going to get one graded. How do you sell them? Sell them on eBay, Craigslist, local coin shop is LCS, private, meaning another individual, or even places like YouTube. I've seen people put up YouTube videos about their silver and gold coins and wanting to sell and, selling them and making good profits out of it. So that concludes class. Wait, we need the bell. Okay, the bell's going to ring in 30 seconds. Thank you, guys. I hope you liked this. This is my Silver Stacking University first class. There's about 5 to 6 more classes to come. And even if you're a seasoned stacker, I think you're going to like some of the future topics. And have a great day. And thank you. Oh, wait, hit the bell. Please proceed to your next class.